Seneca once shared this gentle truth: "The mind is never right, but when it is at peace with itself." Tonight's reflection rests on that wisdom, the soft pursuit of a settled mind, one that welcomes rest without force. We'll explore 3 lessons that shape peace into a nightly rhythm: acceptance, simplicity, and inner calm. These timeless teachings are here for you now, no matter how full your day has been. Hear Seneca's voice through these thoughts, and let them ease your breathing, quiet your mind, and guide you toward stillness. And as you settle in, notice how peace often hides behind what we try to avoid. At the heart of many restless nights lies a subtle trap: the way we try to avoid life's challenges. During the day, it's easy to keep yourself busy with noise and distraction. You scroll, you watch, you fill every quiet gap with something. It may appear like calm, but it is only surface deep. And when the world finally grows still, that thin layer breaks open, and what you tried to set aside comes rushing back. This is how avoidance masks itself as peace. The distractions carry you through the noise of daylight, so you believe your worries are gone. But once silence surrounds you, the thoughts you turned from become sharper, louder, demanding your attention. What you evade by day often waits for you at night. Think of it like sweeping dust beneath a rug. For a while, the room looks clean, but nothing has really changed. The dust is still there, only hidden until it gathers into a small mound underfoot. In the same way, avoided worries settle beneath the surface until stillness uncovers them again, often at the very time you wish for rest. Seneca saw this clearly when he said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." His words remind us that avoidance isn't freedom. It's fuel for the mind to create stories and outcomes that often feel heavier than anything real. By fleeing from challenges, you may find yourself inventing endless possibilities of what could go wrong. And it is this imagination, restless and vivid, that keeps you awake long after the day is done. Think of a time you dreaded a conversation, a task, or a change. The mind might have replayed scenes again and again, weaving outcomes more daunting than the moment itself turned out to be. That is the power of an unchecked imagination. The fear of what might happen grows larger than the event that will actually come. Avoidance leaves space for these fears to expand, and in that expansion, peace is lost. The truth is simple. Peace does not come from turning away. It comes from meeting what is here. When you face and name your worries, the mind softens its grip. Acknowledgement is release. When you admit, yes, these challenges exist, and I am capable of meeting them, you strip away their power to multiply in the shadows. Avoidance only binds you tighter. At night, the unspoken calls back, circling in thoughts that will not quiet. And so it isn't hardship that unsettles your rest, but the avoidance of it. By refusing to sit with what troubles you in the light of day, you carry it into the dark, where it presses in even more. Calm is not a world without challenges. It is a mind that accepts reality as it is. When you stop spending energy on hiding discomfort, you conserve strength for what truly matters. And in this acceptance lies a steady kind of rest, a rest built on truth rather than denial. Seneca reminds us that tranquility is not fragile. It doesn't rely on silence around you or on thoughts completely disappearing. It rests on the strength to acknowledge, to say, life brings challenges, and I am still able to hold calm within me. That is how you protect your sleep from the restless chatter of your imagination. You replace it with a quieter trust that needs no disguise. So before you drift tonight, try this picture. Your challenges are clouds. You cannot erase them by pretending the sky is empty. But you can watch them pass, notice their forms, and allow them to move without reaching to grasp them. This gentle act of acknowledgement is enough. The storm eases when it is no longer resisted. True stillness emerges not when every thought is silenced, but when each one is welcomed without fear. A centered mind does not fight with what is. It rests beside it. And in that resting place, release begins. Moving forward, this acceptance deepens when we learn to hold life as the Stoics taught, to give our best to what we can control, and to release what lies beyond us. Picture an archer standing alone in a quiet field at dawn. He steadies his breath, draws the bowstring back, and focuses on his aim. Every ounce of effort is in his control, his stance, his timing, his release. But the moment the string lets go, the arrow belongs to the wind. A shift in breeze, a sudden movement of the target, these are no longer his to govern. The archer accepts this. His peace rests not in where the arrow lands, but in knowing he has given his best to the shot. This simple image carries a profound truth the Stoics return to often. Freedom begins when we accept that outcomes are not ours to command. We can shape our actions, our intentions, and the state of our mind. But once released, the result moves into a world beyond our reach. In learning to love this boundary, we relieve ourselves of the endless need to predict what tomorrow may hold. At night, much of your restlessness comes from ignoring this lesson. Your mind rehearses conversations or replays scenarios, believing that the more you prepare, the safer you will feel. Yet the more your imagination circles, the tighter your thoughts become. Like an archer refusing to let go, you keep pulling the bowstring back in your mind, but never release. The tension grows until your body carries it into the night. Here lies a quiet paradox. The very act of trying to control what cannot be held is what prolongs your unease. A tight grip doesn't lead to security. It leads to strain. Peace, instead, is found in loosening the string, allowing the arrow to fly, and resting in what you have already done. Epictetus described this clearly in what is now called the dichotomy of control. Some things are yours to shape: what thoughts you accept, how you respond, how you show up. Other things never were: circumstance, the opinions of others, the course of events. The practice is to return again and again to this line, to remind yourself of what belongs within your care, and to gently release what does not. Seneca lived these words out of necessity, not comfort. Twice he was cast into exile. He navigated political storms that could turn on him without notice. And at the end, he met death itself under order of the emperor. It would be easy to believe he had no peace at all. Yet through these trials, his calm and clarity only deepened. When he tells us that we rob misfortune of its sting by carrying it with composure, he speaks from a life tested in ways far beyond ordinary measure. His words ring true because they were proven against the harshest winds. Think of your own nights of restlessness. Perhaps you found yourself replaying what someone might say to you tomorrow, rehearsing different replies, or imagining the many ways events could unfold. After hours, when morning comes, those scenes often turn out different than you imagined. The world does not read from the script in your mind. and yet the cost of preparation through worry is heavy. Your energy drained, your calm disturbed, your sleep surrendered. Seneca offers another way. He reminds us that the weight you carry is not always the challenge itself, but the resistance in your mind. Holding a burden with rigid arms magnifies the strain, but soften your grip, steady your breath, and though the weight is the same, it rests more gently on you. Calmness doesn't erase hardship, but it changes how hardship touches you. At night, this shift can mean the difference between thoughts spiraling out of reach and a mind that lets itself drift into rest. So tonight, imagine you are again that archer. You have already drawn the bowstring. You have aligned the arrow with care. Now, as you exhale, picture yourself releasing it. Whisper inwardly, "I have done my best today. What comes after is not mine to control." Let your breath become this practice. Inhale with steady focus, like pulling the string back. Exhale and allow your body to soften, as though the arrow has slipped into the sky. Each breath teaches a gentle truth. My part is finished. The rest will unfold on its own. Notice the effect on your body. Shoulders begin to loosen. The chest eases with every slow wave of air. Even the small muscles in your face begin to settle. This release in the body matches the release of the mind. You let go of predicting which way the winds might blow. You rest in what is present now. This gentle exercise is more than metaphor. It's practice for sleep itself. Sleep does not come when you grip tightly at what is beyond reach. It arrives when you allow what you cannot guide to fall into silence. In this surrender lies recovery. In this release lies renewal. Tonight, your role is simple. It is not to solve the puzzles ahead of you, nor to relive what is already behind. Your role is to rest, to release the arrow of today into the night, and trust that what follows is not your task to carry. And once your body remembers this release, another question begins to stir quietly. If letting go brings peace, what about the time we hold on to so tightly? The real thief of rest may not be tomorrow's worries, but the hours we lose before the night even begins. Time, more than anything else, shapes the quality of our rest. What matters is not the number of hours before sleep, but how gently or carelessly those hours are spent. Much of the quiet meant to prepare you for rest can slip away into clutter. Too much stimulation, too much noise, too many competing thoughts pulling you in every direction. And when the light is finally turned out, what lingers is not calm, but the echo of those scattered moments. Seneca saw this pattern as clearly as we see it now. He reminded us, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Though he wrote of life broadly, his words also settle into the rhythm of night. Time itself is abundant. It is the way we scatter it, the way we let it fracture into countless distractions that robs us of peace. This wisdom speaks even louder in the stillness before rest. When you lie in bed, your mind often gathers every fragment it held back during the day. Unfinished tasks, conversations replayed, small worries about tomorrow. The effort to carry them all at once clutters the mind and keeps the nervous system alert. The Stoic path offers another approach: simplicity. One calm focus instead of many restless threads. Rather than trying to hold every light in the distance, you choose one steady glow to follow. This choice doesn't erase the rest, but it softens their pull. It gives you a place to rest your mind. Picture those worries and thoughts as many lanterns scattered on the horizon, each one tugging for your attention. The mind chases them like a traveler moving between distant lights, never finding rest. But imagine turning away from the horizon and looking at one candle burning close at hand. Its steady light is enough. Simplicity begins when you choose one small radiance over the many. That is what prepares you for sleep, a single quiet focus guiding you inward. You can practice this shift with your breath. Picture your thoughts as colors fading at twilight. With each slow exhale, one hue begins to dim and slip away, like evening sky dissolving into night. The thoughts aren't erased, but each one loses its sharp edge, softening with every release of breath. In this way, a simple rhythm, the steady in and out of the lungs, becomes the one focus that steadies you. What once filled your mind with chatter grows quieter, leaving space for ease. Many contemporary approaches to well-being align with what Seneca observed centuries ago. Simplicity, whether through mindful breathing, quiet reflection, or the choice of a single calming focus, opens a smoother path into rest. Modern psychology has shown how overstimulation before sleep, from screens and noise, keeps the mind restless through the night. By drawing your attention toward less, not more, the body's own systems respond with calm, slower breath, softened muscles, a gradual readiness for sleep that feels natural instead of forced. So the treasure of time is not found in adding more hours, but in treating the hours you do have with care. The waste is not in how long nighttime feels, but in scattering those moments with distractions that do not serve you. When you choose simplicity, stripping away the excess, time returns to you. What felt lost becomes your own again. Each breath given to calm presence becomes a restored moment of life. How do you begin to simplify before bed? The truth is, it does not require grand routines or rigid schedules. Very often, it comes in small, steady steps. You may choose to put your phone aside a little earlier, leaving the glow of the screen behind. You may replace background noise with a quiet ritual, sitting still for a few minutes, taking a few breaths while noticing the air moving in and out, or even listening to soft, calming sounds that slow your thoughts. Perhaps you pause to bring to mind one moment of gratitude, allowing it to hold your attention for just a breath longer than usual. Each of these choices asks less of you, not more. Each is a way of setting your mind down gently. The Stoics never taught that life should be emptied of its demands. They taught that peace comes from knowing how little you must hold all at once. At night, this means laying aside the many fragments of the day, one by one, until the hands of the mind are free again. Sleep in this way is not escape from chaos, but an intentional pause, a passage you enter with awareness. It becomes a way back to yourself, a space where strength is gathered quietly. When you treat these evening hours with respect, they expand. You discover that rest is part of living well, not time stolen from life. Seneca's reminder about wasted time becomes an invitation to reclaim what is already yours. Each night offers you this chance to choose presence over distraction, simplicity over excess. Sleep then does not feel like losing hours, but like gaining them back, turned into renewal. So tonight, when the mind begins to scatter toward too many lanterns, return to the nearest candle. Perhaps it is your breath. Perhaps it is one thought of gratitude, or one calming sound easing through silence. Notice how returning to one point of focus brings the body into ease, how it loosens the restless need to chase everything at once. In reclaiming your time this way, you bring yourself to rest not as an escape, but as nourishment. The clutter fades and calm remains. And in that quiet, something deeper begins to emerge. Not peace that depends on the silence around you, but peace rooted in the center of who you are. What if rest came not from fleeing the noise outside you, but from returning to a center inside you, steady, unshakable, and always within reach? This is the heart of the sacred center, where inner peace renews your spirit. It isn't something you must earn or chase. It is already yours, waiting to be noticed. And one way to honor it is by preparing your mind before sleep. Seneca often urged his students to strengthen their spirit against fear. One of his most trusted practices was to anticipate the trials of life before they arrived. He was not imagining lightly sketched worries, but rather the full weight of exile, war, torture, and even shipwreck. These were not distant possibilities to him. They were sharp realities of his time, many of which he endured himself. By picturing them in advance, he stripped them of surprise power. He called this premeditation of adversity, and it made the trials of tomorrow less fearsome when they finally appeared. At first, imagining hardship before bed may seem unsettling. Why invite what is heavy into a time meant for gentleness? Most resist the thought, believing it will stir anxiety rather than quiet it. Yet the effect is the opposite. The more you allow space to picture what might come, the more you calm your fear of uncertainty. You become as a traveler who studies the map by lantern light before the road begins. When surprise arrives, it is already softened, and the path feels less daunting. Think of this practice as you would the small ritual of turning a lock at night. You do not obsess over dangers when you turn the key. You do it so that, once inside, you can rest more deeply. In the same way, the imagination rehearsing adversity is not circling wounds. It is closing the day with readiness. And once prepared, you can let go because you have already faced what might come with open eyes. As Seneca wisely reminded us earlier, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. In this practice, rehearsing adversity does not double your pain, it reduces it. The mind, when left in suspense, exaggerates shadows until they grow larger than truth. But shine a light on them, and their outlines shrink. Loss, change, or difficulty are seen not as villains, but as ordinary parts of human life. By turning what if into whatever may come, you reclaim calm. How does this affect sleep? When your mind accepts that tomorrow may offer both ease and challenge, and that both can be endured, you loosen the grip of restlessness. You no longer wrestle to silence every thought. Worry begins to fade, not by being banished, but by becoming less loud. This shift makes sleep less of a struggle and more of a gentle release. Another practice Seneca held close was nightly reflection. Not idle wandering, but careful review. He advised solitude for this, time away from society's voices, to face yourself with honesty. In this quiet space, you can revisit your day. You can notice where impatience rose, where judgment bent, or where fear overtook reason. This is not meant for harsh judgment. It is a way of holding a mirror to your actions with compassion. Awareness brings balance, and balance clears the mind before the day ends. You can try this by asking a simple question. Did I live in a way today that moved me closer to peace? The answer may show you moments to cherish, or it may reveal where agitation took hold. Either way, the noticing itself matters. Awareness loosens grip. In that small release, the mind stops carrying so much into the night. Linked to this was another part of Seneca's rhythm: gratitude. After rehearsing loss, he often turned to appreciation for what was still present. This balance of thought removed dread while cultivating thankfulness. It may sound plain, but gratitude steadies the heart. By noticing health, safety, friendship, or even the quiet of the evening itself, you remind yourself that life already holds gifts worth guarding. Gratitude shifts the focus from lack to presence, from absence to fullness. This shift alone can calm the mind enough to welcome sleep. As we heard in the beginning, Seneca taught that the mind is truly right only when it is at peace with itself. To echo this again here is not to repeat, but to deepen the reminder. His words point us inward. Peace is not found in controlling the outer world, but in agreement within. When thought, action, and awareness no longer fight among themselves, inner heaviness lifts. And when you rest in that harmony, the body follows into stillness. Notice how this reshapes the night. What once had you tossing in circles, the spiral of what if, changes form. Rehearsal becomes preparation. Preparation unfolds into calm. Fear itself softens into quiet trust. Reflection and gratitude then ground you enough to rest without needing every answer. You stop pleading for silence outside and instead lean to strength inside. Sleep in this way becomes renewal, not escape. It turns into a gathering of breath, a restoring of balance, an anchoring to what is sacred at your center. Each time you prepare in this way, accepting life ahead, reflecting with honesty, and appreciating what remains, you nurture resilience. You create a nightly rhythm where rest is more than pause. It is healing. And each sunrise that follows offers proof. You rise not emptied by night, but steadied by it. Your calm is less fragile because it no longer depends on chance or circumstance. This is the freedom Seneca held close. What you cultivate within cannot be taken by shifting fortune. That freedom, that inner steadiness, is the peace you carry with you when sleep has done its work. With acceptance, with simplicity, and with this inward strength, night becomes more than an absence of activity. It becomes protection, nourishment, quiet renewal. And as you prepare for rest with these teachings, there is one last reflection we can gather before sleep takes us fully. Peace at its heart is not fragile. It does not come from avoiding challenges, but from meeting them with honesty and resting in readiness. You have practiced acceptance, chosen simplicity, and touched the steady strength within. From these roots, rest does not need to be forced. It arrives on its own. Let go of the day's weight, knowing you have given your best. Trust in your inner calm and allow sleep to come gently. As Seneca reminded us, the mind is never right, but when it is at peace with itself. If this teaching spoke to you, share your reflection and welcome more mindful moments ahead. Good night.